again, everybody. It's great to be with you. But before we start, can I ask you just to do something for me? Can you keep a secret? Because I've got this here in the conservatory, and if Annette finds out, I'm going to be in big trouble. So, shh, don't tell anybody, all right? Great, thank you. Anyway, my thought for the day today. And you might wonder, what on earth have I got with me today? Well, this is a 1954 BSA winged wheel. It's what they called a cycle motor. So you've got an engine here with a petrol tank in a normal bicycle frame. And they were really popular in the 50s for getting people to and from work. But let's just have a look at the verse for the day before we go any farther with that. I've chosen the verse today, which I think is very apt, and it's something which the Lord speaks to me about, especially when I consider this little motorcycle or cycle motor. And it's 1 Corinthians 1, and it's verses 27 to 29. And it says, "Instead, God deliberately chose the things the world considers foolish in order to shame those who think they are wise. And he chose those who are powerless to shame those who are powerful. God chose things despised by the world, things counted as nothing at all, and he used them to bring nothing what the world considers important, so that no one can ever boast in the presence of God." It's a wonderful verse of scripture, isn't it? And that says something to me, especially with this. In the motorcycle world, this is considered, we don't want to know it, because it's only 35cc. It'll probably only do 20 miles an hour, yet it'll probably do 180 miles to the gallon. And yet in the motorcycle world, as I say, people look down on it, they disregard it, they think it's unimportant, they think it's worthless. And yet, me, for a mechanic, I find it fascinating. The technical implications in this rear wheel drive here, the way it drives the engine, the magneto, and then drives through cogs, through a clutch, because this has got a clutch as well, and then drives this wheel. It's amazing, really. It's really interesting, and to me it's important. But that says something about our Christian life, doesn't it? When we think about each one of us, you might think, I'm unimportant. Nobody cares about me. But I want to tell you something, that God cares about each one of us. We might think ourselves unimportant or not worth anything. Perhaps like this cycle motor in the motorcycle world, it's looked upon as worthless and unimportant. Yet it served a job, and it proved that it could do wonderful things. I used to do wonderful things on it, really. I rode from coast to coast, from Hartlepool to Whitehaven. 140 miles on this, up over Hartside Pass. And it's amazing what things like this can do. And yet, I used to ride past bus stops, and people used to laugh at me. Kids in bus stops would laugh. Even Josh got embarrassed when he was at school, and he was doing a transport lesson, and the one little girl said, "Oh, I saw a bicycle with an engine on." And the teacher says, "Rubbish, things like that don't happen." But Josh had to put his hand up and said, "Please, miss, it was my dad." So often people laugh at things like this, and people might laugh at you and me. They might think we're worthless. We haven't got any jobs in society. But on the contrary, God thinks you're really worth something. He died for you on the cross, and he wouldn't have died for you on the cross if he was worth nothing, would he? He thinks the world of you. And that, to me, that is the most important thing. I don't know how you feel at this time in this pandemic. Perhaps you're feeling down, you can't go out, you feel depressed. But God thinks the world of you. And he's chose you, did you know that? He's actually chose you to be salt and light, to help people out, to pray for people, to be important to those around you. But what were we to do? We're to pray. We're to love those around us. We're to care for those. But more than that, we're to trust in God. We're to believe in Him and have faith in Him. That He will keep us safe. He will show us the way. But more than anything else, that we are important to Him. Like I say, I don't know how you feel today, but if you're feeling down, if you're feeling unimportant, not cared for, can I tell you something today? That God thinks you're important, and God chose you. He chose you to shame the, in this scripture, doesn't it? It says He chose you to shame the rich and the famous. Because we have faith, we have Jesus on our side. I often used to love that song, we don't sing it now, Who is on the Lord's side? And then Godfrey Birtle sung a new song, and it says, I am standing with Jesus because He chose me. So I just want to thank you for listening to me this morning, or whenever you're listening to it. And don't forget, don't tell Annette I've got this in the conservatory, okay? Thank you very much. God bless you.